Hello my gorgeous loves out there and welcome. In today's video, we are going to get into the new Danessa Myricks Lightwork Volume 7 palette. They release this for the holiday every year and this is the 7th in the range. So I am going to compare this to the other Lightwork palettes. I'm going to do swatches on camera with you as well as create a couple looks. But before we get into everything, if you're new here, hello, welcome. My name is Bree. I'm a crazy lover of all things beauty. I love to post a lot of fun, colorful makeup content and I like to do a lot on indie makeup. So if that is what you're into, then please hit that subscribe button and join this little family. But with that being said, let's get into this video. So before we get into this palette, I did want to mention that my room did get switched up a bit. I did some renovations to my beauty space, removed the carpet, put wood vinyl like planks down because I was having like issues with the carpet, getting like humid and damp and mildew issues. We thought we were having a leak. That wasn't the issue, but we decided to pull out the carpet and that's why I haven't been able to film for like 2 weeks now because this room was like unusable and it took a while to get the planks. It just was a whole thing. If you ever get work done in your house, it can take longer than you would expect. Most of the time that's the case, but I just wanted to mention that. But I do plan to do like a beauty room tour and show you guys like my new space. I got a new chair, new lamp, and I'm really loving it now. But anyways, let's get into the Danessa Myricks palette. So I am going to show you guys the palette overhead shot and I'm going to do swatches on camera and compare it and give you all the details that way so you can see the palette up close, the different formulas, and see how they compare to the other ones in case you have the other Lightwork palettes and maybe this won't be your jam, or maybe it is different enough from the other ones that you're like, I need that one too in my life. So that is what we're going to do. So I'm going to take you over to my overhead setup and then I will bring you back to my face so we can create a couple looks of the palette. So this is the same kind of packaging the Lightwork palette from last year came in. And it's very reflective. So I'm trying to hold this at an angle. But let me give you guys like the quick description on what they say about the palette. So it says this is supposed to represent the past, present, and future of Danessa Myricks, which is all captured in this one palette. Celebrates 10 years of artistry, community, and innovation with one of our most iconic shades reimagined for today. This palette blends grounded beauty with surrealist color and texture. There's 10 versatile finishes in this palette that are infinitely wearable. And this does retail for $128 and you can get this off of the Danessa Myricks website. You can also get this off of Sephora, which is where I picked this up. And basically, we'll get into the inside and how this works. So if you didn't see the one from last year, this little piece comes off. The last year's one was silver, and this has like a little mirror on the other side. I just haven't taken off the protective cover. And then this comes off, this plastic piece. It's magnetic. The one from last year was like a black transparent kind of lid instead of this like kind of pinkish one. And then inside there's like 6 little pan palettes in here that can pop out. So you have like this warm 6-pan palette and you can actually snap this on top and make a little mini palette to go to travel with. Now I just feel like the magnet is not strong enough to be that safe traveling, and this too is kind of loose. Like I feel like it can fall off easily. I just wish the magnet was stronger, but you can do that with all of them. They all pop out like that. So this one has warm tone, and then the other 2 are more cool tones. So we'll start off with the warm tones. So we have Golden Child, the shade Warmth, and Sand. So one of the major differences with this palette and the other Lightwork palettes is this incorporates mattes. It's not an all shimmer palette like most of the Lightwork, or I think all of the Lightwork palettes have been. But here's what the shades look like on the finger. So this one right here, the Golden Child, is considered a lasting multi-chrome. This shade Warmth is considered a elastin sheer metallic. And then we have one of their soft touch mattes. So this one to me is like a smooth iridescent shimmer with an intense shift. Like look at that. You can see like there's gold, maybe there's some green. maybe a taupey silverness to it. It's really pretty. And then there's this metallic right here, which it does have kind of like a sheer quality. It's like a, I guess kind of like a rosy antique kind of gold. And then this kind of light, almost kind of leaning cool tone beigey shade. So that is the first three. And then let's get into the last three of this 6 shades. So we have the shade called Enchanted. Ooh, this one's definitely more thicker, a little bit more flaky feeling. Then we have this warm brown, which is called Rooted. And then the last shade is called Mother Earth, which is the one that came broken, but it feels very smooth. And there are the shades on my finger. So this shade right here, Enchanted, is considered a hyper shine metallic. This metal shade is one of the soft touch mattes. And then this shade called Mother Earth is considered a velvet chrome. So it's going to be more satiny. So let's swatch right here. Yeah, this is definitely very creamy. One of those super metallic shadows. It's not considered a multi-chrome, but it's a beautiful like olive green with like gold sparkles throughout. And then here's this beautiful warm brown matte. Wow, that's quite pigmented. And then the last shade, which is considered a velvet, is like a deep kind of cool tone grayish green shade. It's called a velvet chrome, so I don't see anything mentioning it as a multi-chrome, but there might be like some gray or maybe even a purpleness to it almost. Now we can get into this little 6-pan, and these are like the more rosy purple tones. So the first shade we have is called Love Potion. Then we have the shade called Wish. And then we have Guiding Light. This one definitely feels thick and creamy like this shade. So, and there's those shades on my finger. So Love Potion, this one right here, is described as one of those elastine multi-chromes. And then Wish is considered a elastine sheer metallic. And then the shade called Guiding Light is considered a foiled flake metallic. Definitely has that like foiled flaky texture to it. So let's get this one. So this is one of those iridescent shifty multi-chromes. They always include like shades like this in their Lightwork palette, but it's really beautiful and smooth. Then we have Wish, which was described as a more sheer metallic. It's giving me like a lot of sparkle. There's kind of like a pinky base to this one, but still on the nudie end. And then we have the flaked foil. Wow, yeah, this is definitely on the flaky end, but woo, it's intense. Then we have the shade called Spellbound, the matte called Toasted, and the last shade is called Open Heart, which is one of those flaky ones. And there's those 3 on the finger. Sorry if I keep shaking the camera. But the shade called Spellbound, this one right here, is considered a hyper shine chrome metallic. Then the shade called Toasted is a matte, obviously. And then Open Heart is considered a foiled flake chrome as well. So let's swatch these beauties. So this one's one of those very smooth, kind of like multi-chromes that I'm used to. There's definitely like green, but there's something shifting in that one. And then we have the Toasted shade, which is like a cool tone, kind of, what would I say, a pinkish brown. I swatched it terrible, but it's also quite pigmented. And then here's that foiled one. And this one too looks like there could be some kind of green shift to it. Really beautiful. And I just realized I should show you guys the shifts of these shades, if you can kind of see them on camera. Let me do that with the warm tones real quick. I didn't think about that until now. Do you see any shifts on those? Oh, you can really see the green in the mirror on that top shade, and then the greens down here. There we go. Let me do it for this side too. I just wasn't thinking. I did this last year, I think, where I just tried to show you. So you see that top one, there's like a goldness with that pink, and then there you go. You can kind of see on that purple ones that there's like a shift to, especially this one right here, like that green, and even this one right here, down here too, but especially that metal shade. There's a very strong shift to it. Now we're getting into the blues and stuff over here in this last little 6-pan palette. So the first shade is called Northern Lights. Then we have Dreamer, and then this gray matte. So there's those on the finger. So the shade called Northern Lights is considered a velvet metallic. So one of those like velvety kind of satiny shades. Then the shade called Dreamer is a chrome topper. And then of course we've got the soft touch matte. So here is Northern Lights. Yeah, it's definitely velvety, but still quite sparkly as well. And then we have the beautiful Dreamer shade that has like blue. There's definitely like purple in it, and it does have like a sheer kind of topper quality to it. And then this gray matte. Let me pick up some more. I don't know why that's swatching weird, but it is pigmented. So then the last 3 shades, we have Mother's Love. Then we have what is called Grounded, and then Star Power. Looks like a beautiful silver that feels flaky. And there's those 3 shades. So Mother's Love is considered a hyper shine metallic, definitely very creamy and flaky. Then a matte. And then Star Power is also considered one of those hyper shine metallics. So right here, so there's this beautiful like cobalt, like kind of blue. Wow, that is super creamy and intense. And like definitely in one of those deeper metallics. Then we have this matte black. Ooh, that was pigmented right off the get-go. And then this really beautiful hyper shine metallic. It's definitely like a silvery shade. So some beautiful grays and blues. Let me get the little mirror to show you guys if there is any shifts with these. Definitely with that iridescent one, there's blue and purple, maybe even pink in it, but I don't see really shifts in any of the other ones. They're just very intense foiled metallics. So that was the last 6. I'm going to swatch them all together just to see them all next to each other. So here are all the shades swatched out. Really beautiful, intensely foiled metallics paired with some nudie mattes. I love that there are warm tones and cool tones. We got some pops of blue, pops of like purpley magentas, a little bit of green with the olive over there. And I think this is overall really pretty. It's definitely giving more glam, a little bit more nudie-esque, more approachable with like the nudie mattes being paired with the metallics. But overall, I think it's really pretty. Definitely different from the other Lightwork palettes that you're about to see in the comparisons. But I mean, I think the swatches are really beautiful, and some of the shades have like little shifts to them, as I've shown you with these nudie shades, these purples, these little iridescent shades and blues. So overall, I think everything swatched beautifully and it looks gorgeous all together. So I think we should now jump into the comparisons. So here is the Lightwork Volume 6, the palette that came out last year. Definitely same packaging setup, but this has black plastic on the lid part and a silver plate where the mirror is. And then it has the 6 quads. This has no mattes in it. It had these like very satiny shades that don't really have shimmer that you can kind of mimic as mattes, but no true mattes in this one. And as you can see next to this one, which is definitely more like nudie leaning, if you like covered up the blue and these 2 like purple shades, it's basically a nudie kind of glam palette. And this one had a lot more shifty shades in it, some fiery bright ones. As you can see, we have like greens, more pinky tones, some cool tone purples, some reddish tones. I mean, this is just more of a multi-chrome shifty palette, which I love. And then here's the Lightwork Volume 5 that came out the year prior to last year. And this one too, all metallics. Like I said, this is the first one to include mattes. This one had definitely muted metallics, also had different formulas, also had multi-chromes in here. And it had these like big pans in the middle with split pans as well, and some satiny tones, but we had some muted greens, some peachy tones in this one, a lot of like silvery blues, a little turquoise moment like this one doesn't have. And then this one, maybe these might be kind of similar-esque, but the blues are different. Maybe these greens might kind of match up, but definitely on the different end, just so you can see. I don't think there's too much overlapping, which is good because they come out with these every year. You don't want it to be too same. And then the palette, I think the Lightwork 4 that came out the year for the Lightwork 5. And this one is like the most different out of all the ones that I have, because in this middle row, there's like cake liner pans that are like chrome shades, and then there's chrome flakes, which wasn't everybody's jam. They're a little hard to work with, and these are both water activated, which I haven't used a lot of, especially the chrome flakes. And then the rest are metallics. These are definitely more of those like black base multi-chromes, and these shades are definitely on the very shifty side. There are some like sparkly topper shades, which I feel like maybe this one might be similar. Well, no, they're different. It's a definitely sparkly shade. And then the greens all have intense shifts in it, so I just don't think anything, maybe these are super comparable. And this is quite different as well. So I didn't feel the need to swatch out because I just didn't think it was warranted. That is all I had to show you guys in terms of comparisons. I think we can now get into the looks. So let's get into this look. I did prime my eyes with the Glam Light Icing Eyeshadow Base and Buttercream. And I'm going to maybe lean into these nudie shades. And then the next look, I can lean into these more fun colors over here. So I'm going to start off with this shade. Let's go with this mid-tone brown. Nothing groundbreaking, but hey, I don't mind working with some nudie tones. Actually, this brush might have had some matte black already on it. We're gonna ignore that though, because it is definitely a mid-tone brown, and it's going on well. This is my first time trying any kind of like matte formula from Danessa Myricks, and they seem to be performing really nice. I mean, with this like first shade, we're gonna move on to this matte black right here, and I'm gonna use that onto the outer corner. I am gonna bring it into the crease, because if I'm gonna do a nudie look, it's always gonna lean smoky, and I'm sure my second look is probably going to be smoky too. And I'm gonna go into this beigey shade, and I'm going to blend the edge of that matte brown just to soften everything up and get a nice diffused blend. So I'm gonna pretty much just use the same shades on the lower lash line. So we'll start off with that mid-tone brown, And then I'll go in with the matte black. Now let's get into some shimmers. And this shade right here is really speaking to me. This kind of olivey shade. Olive and maybe has like gold. Oh, that is so stunning. And I'm just gonna swipe that on. Yeah, it is leaning quite olive and green. There's gold in there. It's a very creamy shade. And I'm gonna go into this shade, which this one is like a very deep shade. It looks like there's taupe, maybe even some purple to it, and like green. And I'm gonna use that on the edge, just gonna fuse between this shade and the deeper outer corner. And then I'm gonna go into this iridescent shade. So I really stuck to this quad and then threw in the black into the mix. But I just wanted to do a nudie look. So I'm just picking it up with this little flat shader brush. And this one, ooh, this one's bright. There's like gold and like maybe orange. Ooh, I picked up a little too much. Got a little flaky there, but it's very smooth. I'm gonna arch it into the crease and pull it a little bit on the lower lash line. And I might as well use that on the brow bone as well, just to get a little brow bone highlight. And I think that's the look. I mean, I told you guys it was gonna be nudie but smoky. And so I think it looks really pretty. And I love that. And I love that there's like green. It's not just like a brown nudie look, you know? So I'm gonna go do the other eye. I might add some like green elements to the look and figure out something for the lips and mascara, liner, all that good stuff. And then I'll be back to show you guys the completed first look. All right, my loves, I am back and here's the completed look. It's giving like a vampy autumn kind of look, right? I love it. It's smoky. It's more muted, but there's some fun elements to it. I added some liner detail, some gems. So let me lean in and lower the brightness so you can see these shades. Look how sparkly these shades are. And then I added some liner details just to make it fun, some gems. And there's that. Oh, I just think this came out so beautiful. I love it. It's just like so smoky. And if I'm gonna do a nudie look, I'm gonna go more on the dramatic smoky end. So for this look, I use the liners from Letho, their Avatar collection. I used 3 of them actually. I used this one right here. It's like a deep olive color to create the wing here. You can't tell, but it is an olive color. It's not black. And then for the arch here, I have this one, which is like a multi-chrome liner that goes from green to blue and I think gold. That's what's the top liner. And then underneath it, I lined it with this one that has like a red coppery green shift. I think these two are part of the top set and I can't remember the one. It's the fire set. Ugh, I'm like, can't think of the character's name, but I'll link them below. And then for mascara, I use the Tarte Platinum mascara, the Benefit Fan Fest mascara. I use those together. For the waterline, I just wanted to go in with a black shade, so I used this Trestique pencil that I don't think they sell anymore. And then for my lips, I use these 2 lip products from Juvia's Place. So I have the lipstick in Cocoa. I just wanted like a very rich chocolatey shade on the lips to go with this look, and I used this lip liner from Juvia's Place as well. It's the Luxe Liner in Scorpio to create this vampy little lip combo. And I think that's about it besides the gems that I have. I have like a emerald green, a gold, and then like the shifty green gem, and they're all from this pack from It's Belle when they used to still be a brand and open. So that's the gems that I used, and that's basically all I did to complete this look. Oh my God, I love it. I'm totally gonna have to recreate this look when I have something to do because it's just giving fall and all the vampy vibes. So that is everything for look number 1. We can now get into the next look. All right, my loves, we're gonna get into this look and I'm gonna focus on the cool tone shades in the palette. I did prime my eyes already with the Glamlight Icing Eyeshadow Base and Buttercream. Did not set it. So I'm gonna start off with, I think the gray. I'm feeling the gray. And I'm going to Just use that as the initial transition. I'm feeling like a smoky look, but hold on, I need to grab my mirror. Now that I have my mirror and I can see what I am doing, I'm just gonna fluff that through. Ooh, this is nice and pigmented. I am going to incorporate a little bit of this cool tone kind of taupey brown towards the front. I just wanna kind of see how the formula is on that. And because it's cool tone as well, I think it's just gonna mesh with the gray. Just wanted to see. I mean, it is pigmented and it's coming off just a little bit more brown. So I'm going to go into the matte black right here. I have a feeling she's gonna be pigmented, and just off the excess and put it on the outer corner. I think I'm gonna go heavy into this matte black. Real smoky, and like pull it out like that. So now we're gonna get into the shimmers. I think I want to do like blue up here, maybe a purple accent on the lower lash line, but I am going to try the shimmers with the Shine On Shimmer Shadow Enhancer from Fiona. This was part of the Bad to the Brow collab, and I'm just gonna put some on my lid. It does a great job of like gripping to shimmer. And I'm gonna run some down here because I'm gonna use a shimmer on the lower lash line. And I'm going to take, I think I'm gonna try both purple metallics in here. Maybe start off with this one right here because it seems like it has like a deeper base to it. And let me get like a little brush to apply that and just go in it. This is a very smooth formula from what I can see. So hopefully it will glide on just fine. It's kind of like a grayish base to it. So I'm just going to kind of stamp that on the lower lash line to like 3/4 in. And I'm gonna take this shade, which is definitely more flaky, and I feel it leans a little bit more purple. So I'm gonna try to pick it up with the brush and put it right there in the front. It's a little hard to use shimmers this way. I'm trying to avoid having like massive fallout. So now let's do the shimmers on the lid. I need to get a decently clean flat shader brush, if that is even a thing in my life. And I definitely need to go into this like beautiful like kind of cobalt blue shimmer and just run it right there. Oh yeah, like towards the black. I'm gonna also try to use my finger to build it up a little bit more. I do feel like I wanna maybe take one of these silvery shades, maybe this one, in the front portion. This is more like a gunmetal. You know, I think it's just easier to use my finger, actually. I think I'm gonna go into the other silvery shade too over it. I feel like this one's just a bit lighter. Ooh, it's looking like liquid metal. That's beautiful. And now we need an inner corner highlight movement. So I'm going to go into this shade, which looks like a shifty iridescent blue. And I'm gonna pop that right here. Wow, that's intense. I think I want to take a little bit of this shimmer on the lower lash line part, like in the front, just to give some brightness down there. And it has like a pinky shift to it. There we go. I wanted it to look a little brighter down there. So I'm going to work on the blend, the crease, figure out what I want to put in like the waterline, what I want to put on my lips, you know, all that good stuff. And then I'll be back to show you guys the completed look. All right, my loves, I am back and here is the completed look. I'm feeling very bold and dramatic and glamorous. I really love how this turned out. And I felt like this look was so bold that I had to put falsies on, which is a very rare moment for me because I am a mascara girly. But I think this look just needed some intense falsies, which I actually have the Glam Light chocolate donut lashes, which I don't think they sell these anymore, but they're pretty bold and they're vibing with this look really well. But let me lean in to show you guys the metallics on my lid, show you the sparkle. And I have my little flashlight. Look at these shades. Look how beautiful and sparkly they are. Ignore my lashes if they look janky because I'm not great at putting on falsies, but these shimmers are really stunning. The little purpley moment on the lower lash line. Really, really gorgeous. So let me put the brightness back up and let you know what I did off camera, which wasn't a lot. So I went in with the KVD liner to create a bit of a wing. Then I went in with the Benefit Fan Fest mascara and mixed it with the Thrive Liquid Lash Extension Mascara, my favorite tubey mascara that's out there. And then for my waterline, I went in with this Kaleidos Multichrome liner. This is in tourmaline, kind of matched the color that I have down here, shifts to green. It just fit perfectly for the lower lash line. And I also tight lined with this Tristique black pencil. And then for my lips, I did like a little combo. So I started off with the Nabla Beyond Blurring lipstick in Dia. But then I was like, I want something a little bit more sheeny and a little bit more deeper. So I went over that with the Nabla Beyond Jelly one in Nocturna, which is beautiful. I think that was a good choice. I love these lippies from Nabla. And that's all I did to complete this very bold and dramatic look. And now I feel like I am ready to give you guys my final like first impressions on this palette. So we're gonna get right into my thoughts in this palette. I think it's beautiful. The formula is excellent. The mattes are buttery, pigmented, very blendable. I definitely want to try more mattes from Danessa Myricks. And then there's very foiled, sparkly metallics in here. Now I do wish that they had maybe one matte purple, one matte blue to make this palette a little bit more versatile. But overall, it's leaning more on like a nudie glam palette. Even the metallics in here are less shifty. They're just more like very foiled metallics. Now, if you covered out like the blue and like these purple shades, it's basically a nudie palette with warm nudes and cool tone nudes. And I feel like this is going to appeal to a mass market, to the average beauty consumer. So I feel like it's going to do well in that sense. But for me, it's not as exciting as the other lightwork palettes that I've tried from the brand, especially the one from last year, which is my most favorite one. It has so many intense foiled multi-chromes and shifty shades and so much color in it, and that's what I prefer. But not everybody loves color and wants to look like a clown like I want to all the time. And I knew that going in. I was like, this looks kind of nudie, but I want to give it a try. Also because it had the mattes in it, but I feel like this one doesn't excite me as much as the other ones, and I don't think it's necessarily worth the $128 to me, because I feel like I've gotten this from other indie brands like Adept Cosmetics, Glaminatrix, and their palettes are half the price and they have nudie shades and high foiled metallics. I'm willing to spend a more higher price tag when it's a palette full of those intense multi-chromes that are more expensive to formulate. So this one's not my favorite, but I still think the quality is there. It's beautiful, it's glamorous, and I think a lot of people are going to love this and be able to create very glam, nudie looks for the holiday. And you know, every now and then they can dabble into a few pops of color. But that is my thoughts on it. I mean, I just think I would have preferred more multi-chromes and would have preferred, if it was gonna have mattes, some colorful mattes in it. But I do appreciate that this is different from the other lightwork palettes and that she does something different every year, because you would hate for a brand to basically do the same palette every year and change a few shades, you know. So I do like that the brand always tries to do something different and innovative and not give you the same lightwork palette every year. So that was my thoughts on this palette, the looks that I was able to create, the swatches, comparisons. You guys will now have to let me know, what are your thoughts in the comments below? Did you purchase? Did you pass on this? What are your thoughts on the looks? I would just love to hear from all of y'all. And if you're new here and you enjoyed this video, you like a lot of fun, colorful makeup content, you like a lot on indie makeup and all that good stuff, then please hit that subscribe button and join this little family. I would love to have you here. Also, don't forget to check out the description below. I will have the palette linked for you to check out yourself. I will also link the other Danessa Myricks videos that I've done if you want to see looks with their other lightwork palettes, in case you have those ones instead and want some inspiration. And I will have my makeup linked, foundation and all of that, in case you're curious. And I will have my contact and my social media platforms. I'm also on Instagram as Breezy Lifestyle and Breezy_beauty. So if you want to join my Instagram fam, I would really, really love that. But guys, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, for being here, for supporting my channel. I just appreciate you guys so much, and I hope all of you are doing well wherever you are in the world, and just sending you guys so much light and love. But until next time, bye guys.